From the Pep Radio Newsroom, this is the evening news update. Bashful Barack Obama simply can't handle Michelle singing his praises. I'm gonna look down. Barack Obama wasn't ready for Michelle Obama's flattery during her speech at the opening of his presidential center in Chicago on Thursday. Please indulge me for a moment because I'm going to take a little time to do something that I know my husband will not do today, and that is to fully sing his praises. The former First Lady said from the podium as the grinning former president's eyes darted down. Barack, you gotta look at me, she continued. I'm gonna look down, he said, dramatically shaking his head. She went on to point out all the racist vitriol her husband faced during his time in office, including claims that a U.S. senator and constitutional law expert wasn't qualified for the job, the lies about your birthright, your faith, your patriotism. How absurd it is to even imagine that you might have buckled under the pressure, even once lashed out in frustration, lost your temper, she continued. How absurd it is to imagine that you might have done anything but make our family and this entire country proud. Proud every step of the way. Love you, baby. In other news from Washington, in this case, Washington, duck's likely okay as the Trump administration dumps hydrogen peroxide into the green reflecting pool. In case you were alarmed by the images of ducklings floating around in the now green reflecting pool, which the Trump administration has been dumping jugs of hydrogen peroxide into to contain an algal outbreak, they're probably fine, says a D.C. wildlife group. President Donald Trump last month ordered the pool's basin to be painted American flag blue as part of his so-called beautification of D.C. He not only drew a lawsuit over it, but apparently contributed to a surge of algae in the pool. Workers were spotted earlier this week pouring gallons of hydrogen peroxide into the water, which did nothing to counter the algae's takeover. Dr. Sophie Andrews, the medical director for DC's Humane Rescue Alliance, said the duck families that have long congregated in the pool haven't likely been harmed. While it is generally recommended to avoid chemicals in water that animals come into contact with or ingest in low concentrations, such as those used to control algae populations, hydrogen peroxide is unlikely to have damaging effects to wildlife, Andrews told HuffPost. And finally, Kenyan McDuffie concedes the D.C. mayoral primary to Janeese Lewis George. Washington, D.C. mayoral candidate Kenyan McDuffie on Thursday conceded the Democratic primary race to Janeese Lewis George. Although the official certification of the primary race is continuing, McDuffie said in a statement that it is clear that the voters have chosen a different path. The former member of the D.C. Council said he had contacted Lewis George and congratulated her. He thanked his supporters and urged them to continue working for the city. The campaign may be over, but the work of building a safer, more affordable, more prosperous city continues. The Associated Press has not declared a winner in the race. Lewis George had a little less than 53% of the vote Thursday morning, which is just a few percentage points above the 50% threshold to avoid ranked choice voting. The city is scheduled to release preliminary ranked choice voting results on Sunday. AP will call the race then if it is clear that the ranked choice process will be avoided. That's the news at this hour. We'll have more news tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern on the Overnight News Update. From the Pep Radio Newsroom, I'm David Moore.